What's up, guys? My name is John. Welcome to The Blind Tinker, and today we're going to talk about induction cooking. Now, why am I uniquely qualified to talk about this? Two reasons. One, I worked for several years selling appliances, and I learned about all the different forms of energy cooking: natural gas, propane, electric, standard electric, and induction. And additionally, I lived in an RV for 3 years, traveling up and down the west coast of California, and I had to think about things like space usage, energy consumption, and the reduction of heat because I was living in a small home. Now, all of those things pointed me through my research towards induction. Now, let's talk about some of the features and benefits of induction. Now, induction is an electric form of cooking, just like a standard electric one. They have a ceramic top, just like your ceramic tops you find on glass top stoves. They have an element beneath them, just like a standard electric one, but they operate in a completely different way. A standard electric element works by having a resistive coil that just generates heat and spreads it to anything above it, right? So if I turn this on right now, this will get really, really hot no matter what's on it, and the heat just dissipates out into the air above it, usually being picked up by a pot that's sitting on it. An induction element works by having a magnetic coil underneath, and it transfers heat directly through magnetism to a ferromagnetic metal. So think stainless steel or cast iron. That brings us to the first con that people will tell you about. You have to buy specific types of cookware, and maybe you're not used to using those. To me, that was a big advantage, actually, because it steered me towards using stainless steel cookware, which I absolutely love and won't change. And I'll talk about that in a couple minutes. The other thing is, whenever you use an electric element, no matter what the size of the pan is, it will heat up the full element depending on the size of that element. So if you have a small pot here, it's going to still heat up this full ring, which is transferring a lot of heat into your house. It's transferring a lot of heat to this handle, which mine is silicone in this case, but that may become a problem because it becomes too hot to touch. Whereas with an induction cooktop, depending on the size of the cookware you put on it, it will only transfer heat where it finds a magnetic surface. So if I turn this guy on, it will only heat the pan. I'll go ahead and do that right now. And you can hear a coil kick on, and some people don't like that sound of that spinning coil. Maybe that's an issue to you. There are some sound elements that are different because usually you don't hear anything besides the clicking on and off of a standard electric element. But it's only heating the pan here, which I can feel heat right here. I can put my hand right here, and even though you can see that I'm over the element, it's only transferring heat to that magnetic surface where it detects it, right? So if I were to pull this off right now, which by the way, while we're here, it will start beeping at you. Most models like this will give some kind of warning, like there's not a surface detected that's magnetic. So if you put a different type of metal here, if you put, your coffee cup on here, it's not going to heat it. It's not going to accidentally start melting something if you absent-mindedly turn it on and there's groceries sitting on top of it. It will not heat it up and melt it or cook it or anything like that. But if I get this large stainless steel pan, it's going to start heating the entire surface, which I can feel right off the bat all the way around this pan. Which brings us to the next point. Because it's only transferring heat through magnetism to your pan surface, it transfers very quickly. So all tests that have been done, and there's been a lot of them over YouTube and other forums showing the boiling water methods, induction usually wins out. All right, it always beats electric every single time. There are some cases where a natural gas burner could beat out an induction element as far as the boiling water test, but that's usually with really big mega elements, which at the same time are producing a ton of heat into your house, maybe burning the handle of your cookware. So to me, that's not a win at all. These things are not producing heat besides the heat that radiates off the pan as it gets hot in your home at all. So this guy right here will cool down very rapidly. In fact, I can already put my hand on it even though it was just heating up this element here. So it's kind of a built-in safety feature. It's a built-in efficiency. And to me, it's just awesome, right? The other thing are the convenience features. if you're cooking bacon or something that's greasy, that spatters or whatever, you could put your kitchen towel directly onto the element, right? And get back to cooking. And it will not burn this. The heat is only being transferred magnetically to magnetic surfaces. So keep in mind, of course, if you have some iron ring or jewelry that is ferromagnetic and you put your hand on there, it will start heating that up, but most people don't have iron-based jewelry, so tips there. But that's a really great cleanup feature. When I get done cooking bacon, I can just take this off, throw this in the wash, and there's no spatter and mess on my surfaces, which is awesome. So let's talk for a minute about stainless steel cookware, right? People will complain that it gets too hot and then it burns stuff or it makes things stick to it. But I think that's really more of a fault of standard electric elements than it is the actual cookware. So getting used to cooking on stainless steel, you do have to figure out like how much heat you need and how much fat or oil that you're using to coat the surface. Whenever you're cooking on a standard electric element, they heat up and then click off and click on and click off in order to try and lock the temperature in that you're shooting for. And because of that, they put in a ton of energy real quick and it gets over the temperature for a few seconds and it causes things to stick and burn. Whereas on an induction element, it does turn on and off, but it's way more accurate and it doesn't overshoot the temperature because, like I said, it's only transferring heat through magnetism. So it's not wasting a bunch of heat and making things burn and stick. So for me, that's great. Cleaning these things up is super easy for me because I almost never have stuff stick in the first place. But of course, the second great benefit of stainless steel is you can use abrasive cleaners on it. So I use a stainless steel scrubby whenever I'm cleaning up my pans. And if you have a little bit of egg residue or anything that you're cooking, doesn't matter how much is on there, you can just scrape it off with your stainless steel scrubby. So all I use is just regular dish detergent and a stainless steel scrubby on my stainless steel cookware, and it's clean very, very quickly, very, very easily. And most cookware cannot boast that. If you think about enamel coated or cast iron or copper or even aluminum, you can't use abrasive scrubbies on them because it'll either tear off the surface that causes them to be non-stick or Teflon, for instance, or it will damage the surface in some way, like with enamel coated stuff. So that's a huge advantage to stainless steel. Now, these particular ones are Kitchenaid brand. I've had 2 sets of Kitchenaid cookware, and I absolutely love them. Usually the higher end or even mid-tier brands and higher will have like tri-ply bottoms where they have a stainless steel exterior and interior surface, but then they'll have like a different metal on the inner core, like a disc of either copper or aluminum. And the reason why they have that is to spread the heat out more evenly because copper and aluminum transfers heat better than stainless steel. But you still have the advantage of the stainless steel magnetism, so it works great on induction. So mine are tri-ply bottoms. They're stainless steel. I can't remember if they're aluminum or copper on these ones, but they're a little bit more hefty in the bottoms of them. And they'll last you, there's no reason why they shouldn't last you a lifetime, honestly. So I love stainless steel cookware. Mine are stainless and silicone, which means that I can also put my stainless steel pots directly into the oven. So I've actually cooked cakes on these before. I've greased it up or whatever, and I put my cake batter in there. And I put it directly in the oven at 350 degrees. No problem, doesn't cause any issues. The silicone won't burn. Silicone doesn't melt till it gets over like 500 degrees. So no problem there whatsoever. So stainless steel, way to go, especially when you're pairing it with induction. So induction cooktops you can get in the cooktop form, or you could get a freestanding range with all the elements being induction. However, they're extremely expensive still, right? Somewhere in the neighborhood of $1,800 or more. So this guy right here, a single element, cost me about $100. You can get them with multiple, like 2 elements or even 3 elements, but I love the portability of this particular one. This one I found on Amazon, and I think I chose it because of the reviews, and also I really like the clean aesthetics of the square design. A lot of them will have child lock features to prevent your kids from pressing all the buttons, which isn't an issue for me because my kids know not to touch anything around the stove, but also it's not really an issue either because like I said, they're not going to turn on unless there's a ferromagnetic surface on the element. I still, of course, use my standard electric oven for baking and broiling needs and whatnot. That's why I have this set up the way it is. But I will 10 of 10 always choose induction if I have the option to, over any kind of resistive coil standard electric element. So I think that answers most of the questions about induction. This one's kind of short and sweet, but I wanted to let everybody know about this. It's a really cool thing to have, in my opinion. It's inexpensive, and it steers you towards using a really nice form of cookware. So I love it. If you have any other questions or comments, of course, leave them below. I will leave a link to this particular one. This isn't a paid promotion or anything like that, but I'll leave a link to this one if you wanted to check it out. And I'll see you guys on the next one.